If you'd like a growth hack to as many subscribers as possible for your app, here's the fastest way to your first 100,000 app downloads in today's episode with Steve Young. And he not only looks young, what's so special about him is that he's an author, speaker, and host of the #1 app marketing YouTube channel with 58,000 subscribers. And he is the founder of App Masters, the app marketing agency that helps grow apps faster, better, and cheaper. The first question I have is, what's the secret to your success? And does learning how to market apps have anything to do with that?
Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
Lily, thanks for having me on, by the way. I think the secret has been consistency. As someone who's been hosting a podcast since 2013, so that's almost like 12 years now, I think it's just been consistency. Like, it took me 10 years to finally feel like I've made it. And I get this early on in my career, because we have a YouTube channel as well. People are like, hey, you should have more views. You should have more subscribers, not knowing anything else about me, like how much the business is growing. And so people have commented back where they're like, what I noticed about Steve is he's willing to create content even when no one was watching in the very beginning. And I think that's just been it. Just being able to be consistent and try to like pivot when you need to pivot as well.
Thank you. Tell us more about what got you in this journey to be the founder of App Masters, the app agency, app marketing agency.
Sure. So it all started because in 2011, I started making apps. I taught myself how to code and started making apps of my own, and I was doing it on the side. So I was just moonlighting. I was working for a startup in San Francisco. I'm in California. So I was working for a startup in San Francisco doing head of growth, right? And that was more online marketing. So I didn't know anything about app marketing, but I was making enough on the side. It was about $500 to $1,000 on the side as a side hustle. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm an immigrant. So I came to the US when I was just 6 years old, and I had this like entrepreneurial American dream, right? And so I was like, well, why don't I start a podcast to learn from my heroes in the app space to see how they did it so that I can turn this little side hustle into hopefully a full-time business. And so started that podcast in 2013, just on the side too, built up an audience who then started coming to me for marketing help. Lily, I did not think, I grew up in the Bay Area. So I didn't think agency at all, right? For growing up in the Bay Area, I was like, tech company, raise money, raise millions, sell for billions. And so it was just that when I decided to quit 6 months after starting that podcast in May of 2013, I decided to quit. That first year, I didn't know what I was going to do. But the one thing that people did keep asking me for was help me with my app launch. And so again, consistent content, listening and pivoting, because I wanted to create my own apps, right? Pivoting to what made sense from a monetary perspective gave me like, okay, that allowed me to really grow, listening to the audience and giving them what they want. So we have an agency right now that supports, a team of 25 people.
Thank you. So what's the fastest way
for
app entrepreneurs to have their first 100,000 app downloads?
All right. Look, Lily, I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, especially app entrepreneurs, and they talk a lot about like just pretty much spending money. Right? You'll see the big guys, they just want to spend money, throw money on Facebook ads, whatever, so that they can get the downloads. And you have the smaller guys who are more bootstrap. So they want to use organic. There's a thing called ASO, App Store Optimization. That's like SEO for the App Store. So they lean heavy on this. I'm going to give you the happy medium, okay, of the two. All right. For those who are watching this on YouTube, I will have visuals. And for those who are listening to the audio version, you can follow along and I will dictate everything. So this is one of our favorite case studies of 2024. This is a growth hack that I'll walk you through. Okay, Lily? So we've been able to take this app that was making just a few $100s a month and last year grow it to over $90,000, right? So just to give you some sense, this is App Store search, which is more organic downloads, which is what we do pretty well, right? So here's all you got to do. you want to make sure you within the app, all right? So you got an app. Now, for your audience who's not familiar with app marketing or making an app, what I want you to know is apps are counterintuitive. You have to treat apps like an email lead. This is a warm lead. So when they have downloaded your app, you want to show your pricing page or your paywall during what I call the first time user experience or onboarding process. So you want to talk a little bit about the benefits of the app, maybe ask for them to sign up. If you don't need to, don't ask them to sign up, and then show them the pricing page. I know when we do email marketing, because I come from the digital marketing side, we like to, prompt our leads, warm up our leads, and then make that sell. With apps, you don't have to go that much. Most people who buy your app or subscribe to your app, counterintuitively, I know this is all counterintuitive, they will do so before they even start using your app during that first time user experience. Okay. Now I haven't said that because I know I'm talking to a non-app audience here. All right, what you want to do is you want to ask for a review, okay? And I'll tell you why that's important during that first time user experience, because we want to hack the number of App Store ratings that you have for your app. We're going to do ASO, but that's a long story, so you don't have to worry about that as much. And I can explain. If you look on our YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of ASO content. But what we're going to do is make a lifetime offer for your app. And I know what people are thinking, like, I can't give away a lifetime offer. It's going to be too expensive, too costly. Figure out a way to do it. You can create a lifetime offer, and we're going to make it for free for just 2 days. And then we're going to promote it on a website called App Advice. Think about a Groupon, but for apps. And App Advice needs something to be free. So these are all free users. So what we're trying to do is leverage these free users to drive downloads for our app, to initiate, get it going, to then also help the ASO, the organic stuff, and also get us to 100 ratings. So we did exactly this entire process. Here's the App Advice website for those who are watching. It's just appadvice.com. Here's the case study. For a client last year, January 9th, 2024, we did 106,000 downloads for App Advice doing that campaign. So we had a lifetime offer for his app that was an AI app, right? We made it free, did 100,000 downloads in literally a week, right? We had 800 new ratings, 200 in the US because it's global, too. We had 600 ratings worldwide, right? So he went from 5 ratings to now like 200 in the US and 800 worldwide. The other thing we did was we made $7,000, right, when we started. So the App Advice campaign happened on the 9th. You can see January 9th, and you can see the sales starting to climb January 9th, but then climb really on the 13th, a few days later, because we're only free from 9th and 10th. And then sales started really climbing up. So this is a way to kickstart any app anytime. Because a lot of times people will think about this, Lily, and they say, look, I can't give away lifetime. I'm like, well, this is sort of, it doesn't always work out this way, but this is sort of where it can take you, right? All organically. And the other benefits of this campaign and giving up a lifetime, the way I premise this is, yes, you're giving up usage costs, but you're not giving up in exchange for acquisition costs. Some people are willing to spend $10,000 to get like 1,000 users. And I'm like, what's the point? I can get you 10,000 users for free, and then you just have to pay for how well they use your app, right? So here are the other benefits of doing this campaign. You will guaranteed you will get more App Store ratings as long as you ask for it during that first time user experience. So they get the lifetime offer for free. You stay on that pricing page, they unlock it. You then ask for an App Store rating. Great, right? They're more inclined to give you a positive rating. The ASO benefits. So you kickstart, just like SEO, and you need some backlinks. Well, this is a way to really kickstart your SEO for the App Store. And then you get users, guaranteed. They'll give you feedback about your product. So if you're trying to find product market fit, it's a great way to do that. And the best thing, Lily, that I get, and I get a kick out of, is users who will email you for a deal. They'll be like, hey, I was too late on that deal. Could you give me, can you help me with that as a developer? And I'm like, I love those because it shows that they really want to use my app. And I got an email from somebody who's like, I'm disabled, I can't afford, but I really love your app. Would you mind extending that? And I was like, happy to do that. And it makes me feel like, okay, I'm onto something with this product.
Okay, so would you say this is the only way that you have discovered that it kind of works to get 100K downloads quickly? Or would you say there are other methods as well that work just as well, but with a different method and a different spending?
Well, this is more predictable, Lily. So it's the fastest and the most predictable to get to closest to 100,000. The other ways that we've seen work, obviously without spending money, right? You can spend money and get that same exact number, but viral content. So I think what I look for is themes when I'm interviewing people because we have an agency, we have our own apps, and we have the podcast. So I'm constantly learning about apps from different people. So I've heard themes. So the theme that can take you as 200,000 without spending a lot of money, TikTok, viral TikTok videos can do it as well. And then press. So kind of similar to TikTok, I guess. They tend to, but but all campaigns are just like a big burst and then you'll fall, right? And so they're not going to be ever consistent, even my growth hack, but those are the PR and TikTok virality are good sources too.
Thank you. Once you have those initial 100K app downloads, where do you go from there in terms of ensuring that you increase monetization and you make this a platform that sticks?
Yep.
In terms of like churn rate, in terms of
Yep.
people not leaving the platform, and also in terms of like making it a viable thing that brings you recurring revenue.
Right. So here are the numbers. This is why I like the campaign, right? Because even if you don't get the sales that you might receive, should, after this campaign's done, you should get more downloads than you were receiving before the campaign. Now you have users into, like any business, you want to just really pay attention to your funnel. How many downloads are you getting and how many people are you converting? So the average people who install your app to actually paying is about 2%, 2 to 3%. And so behind those numbers, you have to actually, most apps have trials for their subscriptions. So you have to pay attention to how many people who install my app activate a trial. And that percentage should be at least 5 to 10%. That's a good range. Anything under 5, you probably need to work on your paywall, which is your pricing page, or your onboarding experience, right? Given that you got downloads. Then you have to pay attention to how many trials turn to actually paying you. So that's called trial conversion. And you're looking for anywhere from 30 to 40% on app stores. That's on average. So if you do all that calculation, you get 1,000 installs and then help me with my math here, but you get, let's say 10% conversion. So that's about 100 people who activate a trial. And then you get, let's say 40% on the high end of that, you got 40. So now you have a 4% conversion rate, which is a really good rate too, right? From install to actually people paying you. And then you have to play around with, should I charge more? Should I charge less? What will get me more sales on that? And then figuring that out. And then what about the 900 people from the 1,000 that never subscribe? How do you engage them and then bring them back into your app? Because the crazy thing about apps, Lily, is yes, most people pay before using your app, that 10%, but most people actually don't come back the second time as well. Kind of fits, right? That's why they pay, because if they don't, they probably won't come back as well. So it's only 25% of the people who open your app for the very first time come back the second time. So you have a very short window of time within the app space to try to optimize and like get users to not only use, but pay for your app too.
Thank you. For this method of getting the 100K app downloads quickly, how much will these people actually cost you? Because you've offered them a lifetime free membership.
It depends on the business. So for a few of our apps where we've done this, we don't have a usage cost. Our costs are the same whether we have 100 users or 100 million users. Okay. So because it's a local product. Anyways, so what I do know about this client that we did 100,000 and 90,000 within its first year, from a few $100s to, pretty much $10,000 a month, we noticed his usage cost didn't go as high as I thought thought. And I even did a lifetime offer for my app into the AI space. And yes, during that first initial bump, we had to increase our AI credits, but ever since then, it's been fine. So you have to look at your own numbers. But the way I see it, Lily, is you're paying usage costs rather than marketing costs. So even if it's 10 grand, I couldn't get you 100,000 downloads for 10 grand. It'd be very, very hard. Right. And that's the way I think about it. If I got you 100,000 downloads and you actually had to pay 10 grand because people are actually using your app, that's great. Because if you spent $10,000 on paid marketing, you'd be lucky to get 100,000 downloads.
Thank you. Take us through the monetization model that you currently have for your own app.
Yeah, it's all subscription
as well.
Yeah, it's usually all subscription. That's a great. So the data we have is 3 plans tend to convert the best. Okay. So in apps, unlike web, there's no like basic, premium, and platinum, right? Like we love to do that on the website of things. And then it's all yearly or monthly, same price or one time, right? In the app side of things, it's usually weekly, monthly, and yearly. So what I can tell you is you want to get people onto the yearly plan as much as possible. So typically we only give the 7-day trial on the yearly plan that has the highest LTV, lifetime value. The second one, surprisingly, is your weekly plan. So for certain categories of apps, like photo and video, a weekly plan tends, in AI space, tends to convert better and have a higher LTV. Now, the third one, which I call a decoy plan, is the monthly. It is just there to make either your yearly look more attractive or your weekly to look more attractive. And that's all what I do for the monthly, because that has the worst LTV of the 3 plans. So usually, depending on the type of app, for my apps, they're more in the wellness, like sleep sounds space. We tend to lean towards the yearly and give only a 7-day trial on the yearly plan.
Thank you. Take us through the monetization model for other apps that you have helped market.
Yeah. Well, they're all going towards subscription now. Okay. So just keep that in mind. But other people ask, like, for games. Usually games are reliant on ads, us watching ads versus subscription. So games tend to monetize either through in-app purchases, like buying coins or gems, ads, and now they're starting to move towards subscription. But I know you work with a lot of authors. So in your space, like one of my friends he made an app for Hal Elrod, the author of The Miracle Morning. Yeah, Lily. So there's a Miracle Morning app, actually, that's doing very well in the app space. And so authors can sort of utilize as a way of, how do I take these philosophies, these teachings in my book, and how do I extend it to an app form that is more of a digital product, that is more predictable revenue, so you can sell it as a subscription and still be valuable to your community. And if a popular author has a popular book, people are actually searching for it. So you have a built-in community that you can actually leverage. And also you can leverage the app to drive more book sales and so forth. And so I've seen many influencers, like fitness influencers, many authors, like James Clear from Atomic Habits. He has an app as well. And so there's another avenue for your authors to drive more predictable sales.
Thank you. I'm actually in the process of working on an AI writing app. And I'm wondering, what would you suggest that I do in terms of doing first? What would you have me do first, aside from kind of creating the concept?
So your idea is to make a product that allows people to write books using AI.
Yes, but it would be integrating my entire blueprint, which is around branding, media, speaking opportunities, PR.
I'm a hacker, Lily, and I'm cheap. So what I would do if I were you is just pre-sell it. Be like, hey, we're building this tool. It's going to be out in a couple of months. Here's what it looks like. So I'm sure you already thought about this. And if you want it, access to it, you can do one of 2 things. You can ask for an email, just see interest. And then with that email, you can pitch them to see if they're willing to pre-order this and with special pricing. So before I build it, I just want to see if there's demand for it, right? And email, I can judge how big of a subscriber list. So I can run the numbers percentage wise. 10% of my email list joined in. Like, that's pretty interesting, right? So it gives me some signals, and that's all I'm looking for. Signals, whether I'm going in the right directions. That's how I would personally do it. And then to build it, well, you have an audience already and you work with a lot of your clients, and you can just obviously distribute it that way. And so we see, like, especially with Hal and Miracle Morning, we see it's easier to launch these type of apps because you have an audience, you have people that know your brand already and they're already searching for it, which you worked years to create, right? If you're an author. So yeah, that's what I
Thank
do.
you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And what's a good number that would give me a clue about, okay, this is a good app to kind of build? How many people, or what percentage would you say of people showing interest would I need to get in order to actually make this a viable thing? And in terms of pre-selling it, would you have me like actually get like literally make sales of this thing that is upcoming and just promise that it will be delivered in 2-3 months?
I don't know what a percentage is a good percentage. I would say if like 50% is a great percentage, right? And I don't know what the bare minimum. I would say if it's just 5%, is it worth the hassle? Right. So what I would do is just run the numbers. Can I at least break even? If I were to build this product, can I at least break even? So now I know the cost of building this product. And then if running my numbers, right, let's say you have the 1,000 thing again. All right, Lily, because that's but we get half people interested. So you got 500 people, and then you're like, all right, you guys want to buy it for, let's just say, keep math easy, $100, right? You'll get $100 for a lifetime. I don't know what you want to do, right? And so what percentage is that? So let's say there's 100 people that buy that. So now you have 100 times 100, and that is 1,000, 10,000, 10,000. So now if it's like, okay, now it's at least breaking even. Now you're like, perfect. I'm going to go build it because I didn't incur any cost to actually build it. And everything that I sell once it launches gives me its extra revenue. So that's sort of how I would think about it, because I think too many times we're looking for almost external validation, and I'm just looking for signals. So I'm just like, are people interested? Oh, enough are. What if I tweak the messaging? So now, like, if there's not like that many people signing up, let's say we only got 5% of the people, my whole list, 1,000. So what is that? Less than 5, right? Like, so it's like, okay, well, that's, or like 50. I'm like, oh, that's not enough, right? Like, that's not enough for me to want to build this product. And then maybe I tweak the messaging. Hey, what if we did this? Or the people are like, hey, I only got 50 people. Why didn't you guys sign up? Then now I can start exploring. So I just like to build a if then else statement. My mind still goes to coder talk, but yeah, I can build that. So if this, then I'll do that. If not, then I can do this. And I haven't built anything yet. Yeah, I'm just learning.
Thank you. So basically, would you say that if I haven't pre-sold anything and I haven't got any interest from anyone, there's no point to build anything until I have that first?
I would do it that way, just unless you feel very, look, there's certain things I'm like, okay, so what I'm going to look for, like for your example, right? I'll look on Google Keyword Tool or Google Trends, and I'll be like, are people searching for this? And we built an AI app that does very similar. So I'll just say, like, we built an AI app that helps you paraphrase. You can take a word, take some copy, and you can paraphrase it. So my vision was like, all right, there are people all over the world. Talent is global, and so what if I'm not a native English speaker? I'm trying to land a job, a remote job with the US, UK, Canadian company. Please help me write my English better, right? And that's sort of how I thought about it. And so what I noticed was there was demand for this type of product on Google. And I was like, okay, perfect. Let me start working towards that. So, and I had already worked with a lot of AI apps that have been seeing success. So now I'm pairing two together. They've seen similar ideas have worked already. People are searching for it. Now I don't need that external pre-sale validation. I know the market enough that I'm like, okay, if I build it, they will come.
Thank
Whereas
you.
yeah, sorry, Lily.
No, whereas you can continue, please.
No, I was just thinking like where sometimes people like just say, I think this would be a great idea, and they just build it without seeing if people are looking for it or if other app, they'll just see this app, it looks good. Let me just copy them. And then I'm like, you're falling, right? You're just trying to copy somebody. Secondly, they'll be like, I have this great idea. And I was there. I used to bank apps because I thought it was a good idea, not knowing if the market was actually searching for it. So for me personally, I rather build something that people are actually already looking for.
Thank you. How do you calculate what the costs are likely to be in terms of building the initial MVP and then thereafter maintaining it, and like the maintenance costs that are going to be recurring costs that you're going to have for having the app?
That really depends. So for, let's just say your idea, it would be your AI costs. I don't know what that's going to be. The cost to actually develop it, it's going to depend on what kind of developer you have. Like for us, it wasn't too bad to build our AI app. And even with AI, you can use AI to build AI, build apps. So I would say the costs are definitely coming down, but it's going to really depend on who and where you get this talent, the developer talent. So if you go to India, you go to, Eastern Europe, maybe a little bit more affordable. You go to the US for the same app, you can probably get a bit more expensive.
Thank you. Did you find that doing your YouTube channel, did that help you at all in terms of getting app downloads for your apps?
Yeah, I didn't do it for app downloads particularly. Yes, the answer is yes. If you have one of our clients, he worked with a YouTube influencer to, get downloads for his app. And it's a great, if you can create evergreen content on YouTube that promotes your app, you'll get consistent downloads rather than working with one big influencer and getting a huge spike, it'll go down. So for purely just to answer the app downloads, for me, the way I saw it was to help grow the agency, frankly. Like I wanted to share our expertise and help the indie developers out there to get free. So a lot of our free content on YouTube have helped many app founders too. And then some of them, when they've had enough success or bigger brands will come to us and be like, hey, can you help us with their app too? So my vision for the YouTube was, how do I provide a channel that has actionable, that founders can actually use these strategies to grow their app downloads? And then through that exchange of free knowledge, hopefully a few of them will come over to us and work with us as an agency too.
Thank you. Tell us about some of your marketing case studies. And I know you mentioned a few already.
Yeah.
For your app marketing agency.
Well, I want to make it actionable for you because I don't want to just like, hey, look at me, look at what we did. So I'll tie it in, and what I would say is the Apple search ads. So if you're now like leverage your brand, and you talked about this too, Lily, you're like, all right, I have a brand now. Like, how do I keep it consistent after the 100,000? So we did the 90,000. That client was like, I want to run marketing. And I was like, you only have 5 reviews and you're only making a few $100 a month. Let's not continue to invest from your savings. Let's make some money so that you can reinvest from your revenues. Okay. But once you've done that, so your question was, hey, I have 100,000. I've got some sales now. Now, how do I reinvest those sales into what channels? So the case studies, we do have Apple search ads would be the easiest, especially if people are searching for your type of app. Now, if you're trying to build the next Twitter, the next Snapchat, the next Instagram, a lot of people aren't going to be searching for that. The brand is going to be what they're searching for, not the utility, the generic. But if you got like a meditation app or a fitness app, then Apple search ads, it's like Google PPC, easy to set up. All you need are keywords. And if you understand Google AdWords and PPC, you'll understand the Apple search ads as well. Now, Apple search ads, after that, you want to really then focus on TikTok or Meta. All right. Those are the 2 other platforms that's going to help you scale really big. So now for another client, we took it to about 60,000 a year, $67,000 a year. And he's like, all right, I'm ready to scale it. And that was all organically. So for pretty much free. It's like, I'm ready to scale it. We turned on Meta ads, right? And I would focus on Meta. And now we're seeing his organic downloads and sales go up too because of the help of Meta. So not only is Meta's about breaking even, but now we're adding more sales and downloads because of organic stuff too. So I would say the 3 main channels that people should be focused on if you're trying to do paid marketing, it's going to be Meta, Apple search ads, or Google for Google, Apple search ads for iOS downloads, Meta, and TikTok. And those are the 3 or 4 biggest channels that people, because people start thinking about, what about this? What about this? I'm like, look, people have built big businesses just with those 4 channels. And frankly, with just like 1 or 2 of those channels of the 4.
Thank you. Do you find that it's a requirement to acquire clients at a loss for a really long time in order to build a sustainable business that brings in recurring customers? Or do you find that it's actually possible to bring organic leads that convert and turn your business into a profitable business in the short run as well as in the long run?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first part of your question, I would say I wouldn't recommend it right? Having done my business for a long time, and early on in my business, I had to take out a loan just to get cash flow. Cash is king, right? If you don't have enough cash, you're just burning money, and that can only go on. Then you have a timeline in place, it's a ticking time bomb. So I wouldn't do that personally. I would always try to be positive as much as possible. You can get away with organic to a certain point, right? I feel like the big apps that we're working with where it's purely organic, while yes, we do have clients making $200,000 and six figures a month just with organic downloads for free, right? But the majority of them launched 10 years ago, right? So now it's possible, but extremely hard. So I think ASO wise, organic can get you to a certain level, like 5, 10, 20,000 downloads. And once you're there, now it's just reinvesting. And that's what we did with our client. We were able to get to 7,000 all for free, pretty much organically. And then when we added ads and spent 3,000, we then made 12,000. So that's how I start to think about it. Can you use some of that money where you're making it organically to then reinvest in further growth there too?
Thank you. How did that work in terms of finding organic leads? Was it through TikTok influencers?
Right. Are you just talking about app downloads, or when you say leads, what are you referring to?
I'm talking about users that convert into paid customers.
Okay. So how do I find the keywords, or what did you say?
No, how do you find these
The leads?
Yeah, so is it through TikTok influencers, for example, that promote your app and then that leads to sales, or is it some other strategy in terms of organic leads?
Yeah, it depends on how you want to do it. Like there are people who don't do any organic and only do TikTok viral videos. I'm not an expert at that, Lily. I don't know what a video on TikTok is going to go viral or not, but some people who do have done it. So I'm just looking for themes. And because of my audience, people will come up to me like, hey, Steve, guess what? This is working for me. And when two different people in two different categories tell me the same thing is working, I'm like, that's when I pay attention. So multiple people have said, hey, I'm just posting on TikTok and I'm going viral on there, and that's driving downloads. And that's ultimately building your brand. Because most people on TikTok won't swipe up or try to get it. They have to search for the Awakened Titan. And then they go to the App Store and they search for that, right? So that's definitely one way. Another way, one of my favorite ways of finding new keywords, like let's say you're trying to target keywords. So, okay, great. Now you're like, all right, for keywords wise, you want to have your best keywords, just like SEO, in the title or your app name. So Lily, give me like, what keyword would you be searching for your app that you wanted to build that uses AI to write? So AI book, AI, what do you want?
Writing assistant, maybe?
Book. Okay. Writing
assistant.
Okay. Perfect. So I'm using, for those who are just listening to the audio, I'm using a tool called appfollow.io. AppFollow. I'm not associated with them. I just love their tool. Okay. And they have this, if you're in the tool, I'm in the ASO tools right here, and then live keyword ranking. Now I just put in the keyword that I thought people would use to find my product. Now, Lily, you have search results. These are the actual products that show up when you search book writing assistant. So you have this Writify AI writing assistant, similar to what you want, right? Script writing, email writing, potentially.
Not really. It has to
not really.
Writing.
More book.
Email writing.
Like this. Author AI.
Not novel writing. Book creator. I mean, the essay writer that says a book creator. That's okay.
Okay. So we'll click on this. So we see a search result for those listening to audio that says essay writer and book creator. That looks similar to what we're doing. So what we're going to then do is click this eye icon, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully I follow. Yes. Sometimes this part doesn't work. But then I just sorted by popularity. So now you're doing keyword research using existing apps. And then now I'm looking for the keywords. Now here's the magic here. So what we found is if you can get to number one for just 2 to 3 keywords, that's it, right? But they have to have a search volume. Enough people have to be looking for it around 30. That's enough to build a 6-figure business. We've done it multiple times. So that's all you need to do is try to find the right keyword right here, like AI writing assistant free 31. Now, I know what you're thinking that says free. People just want the free one. Nope. People will pay. They're just looking for a free download sometimes. So like this one. So now you're like, all right, this is interesting. Enough people are searching for it that if I can rank number one, I can build a easily 6-figure business. Okay. So that's all you got to do. So what I try to do is I try to identify 10 different keywords, knowing that I'm going to fail at a few of them. And then eventually, hopefully with that 10, I'll find the 2 that gets me to really start driving downloads through there. Now, once you're there, you can obviously go up for more competitive keywords, like pretty much, I don't know, AI writer. That's a little bit more, right? So you can start going after. But the 30 is a sweet spot between enough volumes for you to build a business and not so, it won't be as competitive as some of the higher traffic keywords. That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
Just go to appmasters.com, or if you're on YouTube, just search for App Masters.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.